G'day, I'm Sogg,
And I'm Brad.
and we're the A-League Couch Critics. And today we are going to be talking about Sydney FC's form
It's
post-COVID.
fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. If you're a Wanderers fan.
Sydney fan or Wanderers fan, we're going to dive in. Have they been good enough? Are they good enough to win the championship after all this? Let's have a chat.
Yep.
Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like this video and to subscribe to our channel if you're new here. It really helps us out. And we're going to set a like target on this one. I know it's a Sydney FC video, so hard, but
We'll probably get too many dislikes. That's the problem.
let's go for 20 likes again. I don't think we quite hit it last time, so let's go for 20 likes on this video. See if you can hit it.
What do you think, Sog? As a Sydney FC fan, you must be pretty frustrated at their current run of form. I know you've won the minor premiership, but still, it's not good form running into the finals.
It's not been great. Like we only just beat Wellington by the skin of our teeth. Losses to Jets, to Melbourne City, now to Western United. Draws with Brisbane and somebody else. Adelaide. Drew with Adelaide.
Yeah.
So there's some teams. They're all in around that top six kind of area. Adelaide just missing out, but yeah, geez, it's been sketchy.
But considering the form you were in before lockdown, I think you lost 2 games to the Wanderers, and you might have had you had a draw to the Wanderers, and I think you had a draw to Phoenix maybe. So you only had dropped a handful of points compared to what you have now.
Okay, so you look at the season, it's definitely broken into 2 halves, and Sydney's dominance over the entire season shows because even with the terrible restart, we've still won the league by 10 points.
Yeah.
9 points, sorry. 9 points.
But unfortunately, you don't get the title by finishing top in Australia. So
well, you get our title. We've got the plate, the premiership, and some people will still think that that's the way it should be. It should only be a premiership, and who cares about the final series? But that's not.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't disagree with you, but
it counts as a trophy, and we'll take it, and we celebrated it. But coming into the championship, the final series, looks interesting. Picking apart a few of the issues, I think the midfield just is having trouble unlocking defences like we were in the past. I was really worried when Brendan O'Neill left after we played Western United all the way back kind of early on in the season. He went to Korea. I was worried about that because he's been an integral part of our midfield for the last few seasons. But Bratton was still doing well, and Caceres has popped in there and done really good. Retre's played there at times and looked okay. But post-COVID, kind of since the restart, Bratton's looked a little bit off. He's still got some brilliance in him, but defensively doesn't look amazing. Retre has kind of not come back well. We've had injuries to Zulo and to Ryan Grant, which haven't helped with the flow of things. And Barbarouses and Lafondra up front, as well as Ninko and Baum-Johan, there just seems to be a lack of clear communication. Like those final passes are just being mistaken, or they just don't look like they're gelling like they were earlier on in the season. It started coming against Western United, but then fell apart kind of right at the end. Yeah, Bradley, what have you seen? Have you watched many Sydney FC games?
I actually did watch the last 20-odd minutes of that game. I have to say, the intensity right towards the end was fantastic. Both teams were going all out, and that might be the effect of playing in winter.
Definitely.
It was a great game the last 20 minutes, just the running and everything. I don't know if I've ever seen an A-League game, especially towards the end of a game that's had that kind of intensity. Thinking pre-COVID, when we were still playing in the summer, it was a great game.
Yeah.
And Western United, the in-form team, they've won their last 4 games, and boy, I wouldn't want to be playing Western United. But Sydney FC, it's probably just a lockdown, and I think they had such a great lead before going to lockdown. They might have got in their head thinking we could afford to drop some points, but I think it's getting a bit worrying at the moment because, you're going into the finals. You haven't won the major title. You've won the minor premiership, but, it might be a title, but you want to win the grand final. That's the big thing you want to win, and their form right now is a bit worrying.
Well, we saw the same kind of happen with Liverpool. Once the title was secured, they dropped off. They weren't quite there. They were a bit sluggish. Maybe the same thing's kind of happened with Sydney. As soon as they secured the title by points, they've kind of just taken that foot off. Okay, we don't need to put all in, but surely they, maybe they're saving some energy for the finals. But surely you want to finish well. You want to finish the season impressively, knocking teams off, make teams scared to face you in the finals. Mentally for their finals run, I wonder what this does. Do teams look at them going, yeah, we can beat Sydney, we've got them, and Sydney trying to use that to their advantage? Yeah, everyone thinks we're weak, boom, watch this. Or is it, are they going in going, oh man, what's happened, we're not quite where we are? Is their heads, they're struggling now to continue that consistency, and teams might knock them off. We might see a repeat of 2 years ago when Victory knocked them out in the semi-final and the premiers weren't in the grand final. Or we might, see Sydney just turn it back on and be a finals team. And that's something, when it comes to knockout football, the season is gone. This form goes out the window. It's all about the day and who wants it, who's ready to fight. So I wouldn't completely rule them out of the finals.
No, of course not.
Of course, as a Sydney FC fan, I think it needs to be better. I wonder what we could see, because they've probably had the least... Well, they've had no players leave because of COVID. No. They've kept their squad, so interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I can't see it. I can't see them thinking, oh, we'll take it a bit easier and then we'll switch back on for the finals, because you can't afford to switch off.
Yeah.
Because once you get in such a rot of form, it's hard to get out of it. I think the thing with Liverpool is they could afford a little bit of slack off, because they weren't going into anything. They weren't into the final series
to do.
And so the A-League's very different, because you don't want to go in a bad run of form going into the finals. You want to be playing great every week, and that's what Liverpool did before the title. That's what Sydney FC did. Liverpool did before the COVID break and before they won the title, and the same with Sydney FC. Before the COVID break, they lost a handful of games, and I think they've definitely got the quality to turn it around. But I don't think it's a good spell of form for them, but they definitely can turn it around. That's for sure.
All right, Bradley. What's one way you think Sydney FC... I know you don't want them to, but if you were coach of Sydney FC, if you were Steve Corica, what's one thing you'd be doing to get their mojo back? Is it a tactical change? Is it a mental thing? What are you doing?
I think it's probably a mental thing, and I think it's up to the coach, to Corica, to say, come on, guys, pull your heads out. Look how we were playing before lockdown, and what's going on? Is it this mentality of, we already had it won, let's take it easy? Or is it something that happened, that lockdown actually affected them and it's switched them off? I think it is a mental thing. I don't think there's too much they need to change. I don't think it's too much change. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a mental... I think Corica just needs to rip into him. Maybe he could have dropped a few players and say, you're just not good enough. But... in some of their previous games, obviously the finals is the next game for them, so there's no time to drop players. But I think it's a mental thing. What about you?
I probably... Tactically, no one else plays a formation like Sydney. So this is another video I'd love to do, is just how many teams play with 5 at the back at the moment in the A-League. I don't particularly like it. I love Sydney's attacking philosophy, and they usually do okay defensively. I think mentality... Yeah, it's a mental thing that instead of maybe telling them to pull their heads in, I think they know. I think they're aware. But for Steve to go in there and just let them know what's at stake kind of thing. You lose in these final series, okay, we're just like Melbourne Victory. You win this final series, you go on and get this double again, we separate ourselves from the rest of the league. We really do cement that kind of the best club in the A-League consistently, particularly over the last kind of 5-6 years. It just notches that another one, puts them above, and it makes next season really hard for the rest of the teams, because it just sets this whole new bar. If Sydney can go on and win it, that's what's at stake. Real glory, the best team of this, decade, this last kind of couple of years. So I'd be putting that in their heads. You need to perform. You guys could put your names up in lights and really cement Sydney FC as the greatest club in Australia at this point in time. Yeah, it's a big one. Yeah.
Who's the team you reckon you have to watch out for? Like, the favourite I'd assume is still Sydney FC, but who's the team that could really challenge it? Because I think there's quite a few that are in the mix to have a crack at it come finals. Who wouldn't you want to play if you were Sydney FC? That's if you make the grand... Well, in the semi-final at least.
It really comes down to two teams for me, both from Melbourne. So you got Melbourne City and Western United.
That's if Western United are from Melbourne. Who knows where they're from? Anyway, move on. We've had this
Derby.
discussion before. Yeah, but...
So Western United are in hot form. And Diamante is great. Burgess is good.
Barisha has always come up with a goal.
So they've got the wise heads to be successful in the finals. That's why I'm maybe a bit wary. And we saw that. I thought Sydney had the better of the game, really, but we saw Western coming out on top. Melbourne City, and I'm kind of 50-50. One, they've got a great side and they look like they're clicking into gear, but they're Melbourne City, and come finals time, they're perennial chokers. They're never actually going to win an A-League, I don't think. This is their best shot, but I think, come final, the grand final, I think it's going to be City and Sydney. I just don't think they've got the mentality. They showed it in the FFA Cup. Kind of lots. They've shown it in final series. I think there's still a culture problem at Melbourne City that they can't get over. Sorry, City fans. I'm just going to put that out there. That's my opinion.
I have enjoyed them, though. I think they've played their best under this new French.
Yeah.
The new coach. I think they've played the best. I think probably pre-lockdown, I probably would have said Phoenix, but I just haven't...
They've lost David Ball for the final series as well.
They lost
up front, and
Hooper up front as well.
Yeah, Gary Hooper, sorry. Yeah.
And they've both gone home because there's only a few weeks left.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I enjoyed Brisbane before lockdown, but I still never really considered them. And Perth had the potential to win it. I just don't think Perth hit the heights of what they did last year, which is probably very disappointing for Perth at least. I don't know. It's hard to go past Sydney FC winning it, but who can make the grand final? Well, depends how the draw plays out, but
we're going to have a look at
City,
that.
Might be Western United.
There's one more game to go when we post this out, and the next video at the end of this week, Bradley and I are going to predict the final series. We're going to have a look at the matchups, who's going to win it. So let us know down in the comments, what would you do to fix Sydney's slump? Are you a Sydney supporter? Do you think they're going to make it? Or do you want to watch them crash and burn out like Wanderers fans over here? Thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment, share it with your friends. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks.
See you later.